Hey, welcome back, you all, to Mirror Expressions, a channel where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with you all, and I invite y'all to come on in and do the same with me. Go ahead, hit thumbs up for me, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and drop me a mirror emoji in the chat if you have been okay. Let me know what's up with my people, man. Let me know. And if not, as always, I encourage you to do what you must to get back to a healthier you. All right, y'all. Abbott Elementary is one of my favorite shows. Another good one. All right, season 2, episode 12, comedy. Okay, so yeah. So we open right on up, full of laughs. Always. So Janine and Gregory, they're by the printer, and so Janine sees like this flyer that Gregory has, and she notices that it's a picture of his father and some guy, and it says something like the Eddie Lawn Care Services or whatever. And so Janine was like, I didn't know you had a brother, and Gregory was like, I'm an only child. And so he was just like, Janine was like, so your dad hired an actor to play you, to play his son? Is Gregory is like, yeah, because supposedly like the family look is better for business, when it seems like, it's a family owned and whatever. And so they're just kind of discussing how weird it is when Ava comes up. Y'all, Ava was listening in on the whole conversation. Baby, that thing came, knocked on that window, talking about something. Oh, he's fine. He's fine. That's one family tree I like to climb. Like, talking about the guy on the flyer that's playing the son. I said, oh, child. That doggone Ava. Anyway. Over at Janine's classroom, so she's having problems out of two stools. She got two problem children right now. They like to fight and like to go at it or whatever. They just not getting along. So one of the little girls threatened the other little girl. She was like, I'll beat you up. So here goes Janine in her confessional. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she said, I'll beam you up, like a Trekkie. I'll beam you up, on the friendship. To me, go bye. Them students fight. They don't like each other and they going in it. So we find out that Gregory's dad is there. He's at the school. He's coming to visit. So Gregory spots him as he's looking out the window. And so the dad is down there checking out their little garden. And he just so happy to look up and see Gregory looking out the window at him. So Gregory gets all flustered. He try to shut the window. And then he runs out of the hall. And he's just standing like at attention or whatever. And so Ava walks by. And she was just like, Gregory, are you okay? Is this one of them Stranger Things moments? Like, what's your favorite song? Y'all, that should be out. You have to be a Stranger Things fan to get their reference. Okay, I can't go into all that right now if you don't know, but that was funny to me. So yeah, he's just walking there and he's just standing there. So the dad come in, right? And so he's like, I'm Lieutenant Colonel such and such, and he ends up giving Ava like his business card to the landscaping service. And so Ava started dogging the man because he's still using the Hotmail address. So she gonna gas him up like his email address is everything. But as she's walking away, she's like, Hotmail. Like, who still uses a Hotmail address? Oh, anyway. So Gregory is showing his dad around the school or whatever. And so they get to the teacher's lounge. And so Melissa, Ava, and Mr. Johnson, they're already in there. They're discussing their fantasy football league and how Mr. Johnson is always winning or whatever. You know, having a friendly competition banter, because he come in checking a garbage can and Melissa is just like, what are you doing in there, Mr. Johnson? You already done pulled the trash. He's like, oh, nothing. I'm looking for your fantasy football team. I was like, oh, the shade, the shade. So Gregory and his dad are just standing at the door, right? So Ava walks out, and then she walks out and passes them. She gonna look them both up and down, telling some double trouble. Ava, sit down, sit down. Ava be want anything they want. So Gregory did goes on to try to introduce, I noticed I said try to introduce his dad to Melissa, because she was the first person there. Mr. Johnson and Ava had walked out at this point. And so, but Melissa wasn't having it because she wasn't studying them. She too busy with their fantasy football stuff. So she was like, yeah. So over on the other side of the break room, well, Jacob and Barbara was sitting over there discussing the garden of it all. And so they hear, they end up getting up and going over to introduce themselves to Gregory's dad or whatever. And so I think what it was, like, Gregory's dad ended up saying, so this is the lounge. It needs some plants in here because the air is still. That's what it was. And so when Jacob and Barbara heard something about him talking about plants, that's when they jumped up to go introduce themselves as the plant people that tend to the garden outside or whatever. And so Gregory's dad was just like, he was really impressed with how they had winterized the plants out there, and they used the old school tried and true methods of protecting the plants, and then even upgraded it a little bit. So you can see when he's saying this, Gregory's like getting all like this beam in his eyes, like he's proud about what his father is saying. So, but his father is thinking that Barbara and Jacob were responsible for it because they're the ones that take care of the garden, supposedly. And so Jacob turns to Barbara and he was just like, yeah, Barbara did that. And she also did such and such and such. And then Barbara's like, no, I thought you did that just like you also did such and such. And then Jacob's like, well, didn't you do such and such, So they're naming all this good stuff that had been going on with the garden, right? But they're thinking that one another has been doing it, when all along it's been Gregory, because he didn't want nobody to know. And so he would secretly go out there to the garden or whatever. So they're just now finding out that it's Gregory. So they're just like, Gregory, have you been the one? Have you been the one taking care of the garden? And he says yes or whatever. And so he proceeds to tell them everything that they were doing wrong, like planting some spinach instead of greens and, like that kind of crazy stuff or whatever. And so here go Barbara, because she's all upset that Gregory was secretly tending to the garden. So I gotta read this verbatim because it tripped me out. She says, Gregory, why would you so secretly tend to the garden? Why would you prune privately? Why would you cull clandestinely? Why would you, what is this she said? She said, you hidden hoeing. The hidden hoeing took me out. Oh my goodness. I got to put that as a hashtag somewhere. Hidden hoeing. You out here hidden hoeing and whatnot. Why would you be tight-lipped about tilling? I was like, okay, Barbara, you better go. So now that Dad realized that Gregory was the one, now Dad is beaming because, he like his son is following in his footsteps, which, if y'all recall, It's what he wanted Gregory to do anyway. He didn't want Gregory to come and be a teacher, right? He wanted him to go do that with him. So, y'all. So Janine is trying to get her students together. They are still fighting. And she's trying to get them to be best friends by pairing them up with everything. Like sitting together, working in class materials together. So they're in the cafeteria sitting by each other, eating lunch. And they end up fighting each other yet again in the middle of the cafeteria. Like one of the little girls put a whole milk carton on the floor, stomped on it, and it just went spewing all over the other little girl. Y'all, it was so crazy. But anyway, so they're all walking in the hallway, like Janine, I think it was Jacob, Barbara, Melissa. And so they're talking about the trouble duo that Janine has or whatever. And how, what they should do, what she should do to handle it and yada, yada, just giving their opinion about how they would do things. You know what I'm saying? And so Mr. Johnson, he was out in the hallway cleaning or something. He don't do no real work. So he was out in the hallway. He overheard the conversation. So he's just like, well, I'm a pacifist. And so they like, a pacifist? He was like, yeah, somebody come at me, I'm going to pass this fist into their face. I'm going to have to use that, pacifist. I can remember, like, growing up, my sister would say this all the time. It's only going to be 2 hits. Me hitting you and you hitting the floor. That falls into that category. I'm a pacifist. You come to me with some bull, I'm going to pass this fist right into your face. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so Ava and Melissa, they come up with this plan to take Mr. Johnson in his fantasy football league down, right? So Ava had overheard something at church about one of the players in the football league. And it's apparently, I guess, one of Mr. Johnson's favorite. He wasn't going to be able to play. And so they were going to steal his next top player. And so they concocted this plan that when, I don't know, I'm not into fantasy football. So I think how it works, like the board opens up at a particular time when you can go pick your players or whatever. And so they devised a plan to distract Mr. Johnson at the time it opens up so that he's not able to get the next player that he wants or whatever, right? And so since Ava came up with the plan, but she wants Melissa's help, she's gonna have to give up something. So she's gonna give Melissa 20% of her earnings plus her spots on the her shelf in the refrigerator or whatever. And so they did that. And so over to Janine, she's kind of had it up to here with her students fight. It's like she's just had enough. She's over it. She's fed up. And so she tells them, basically, if they're old enough to be mean to each other, then they're old enough to work things out. And that they need to figure it out or come move it Friday. Ain't neither one of them going to be there. Right? Basically, that's how it went down. And so in the teacher's lounge, Gregory ends up getting a call. He's in there and he gets a call from his dad. Now, Barbara's in there too, so she's kind of listening in on the conversation. So he gets a FaceTime call from his dad. So he's talking to his dad. And his dad ends up asking Gregory, hey, I need some help on this job. Will you come help me out? He says he was really impressed with what he's doing with the school garden and he wants his input. So, Gregory's just like, he's trying to smile because I think he's feeling validated, but at the same time, he don't really want to show it. You know what I'm saying? That, how you kind of seek and look for somebody's approval for so long, and then when you finally get it, it's just like a satisfaction type of feeling, but at the same time, you like, I don't know. So he's trying to stifle that, right? So Barbara over here, she sees him And she calls him out on trying to stifle that smile. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I think that's what it really was. So, um, Barbara points it out, you know what I'm saying? And so in his confessional, Gregory is just like, you know, yeah, you got me. I'm happy. I think I'm experiencing what they call black boy joy, even though I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? And sure, girl, we say black girl magic. You know what I'm saying? You go ahead with your black boy joy. Ain't nothing wrong with your black boy joy, Gregory. So anyway, so they're in the cafeteria again, like Janine's class. And so we see the dynamic duos. And they're sitting together, they're eating, they're not going at it, you know what I'm saying? So, y'all know Janine, she gonna be quick to really think she done did something and solve the problem. So she's just like, yeah, I did it. See, you know, you don't have to do all this and that. You can, you know. But then next thing you know, here come like an 8th grader walking up to Janine talking about something. Hey, are you that 8th grader? My sister said, y'all know Janine's short. So the girl was taller than Janine. She was looking down on Janine. And before Janine could figure out what was going on, another girl comes from the other way. And so one of the little girls in Janine's class that's been doing all the fighting was just like, that's her, there she go. So then the 2 older girls go in to come to find out, y'all. The 2 older girls were sisters to each of the 2 younger girls. And so since they had to work it out, they told their older sisters to fight it out. So they won't be Smoothie Friday. I said, ain't this so? These kids these days, baby. So anyway, Melissa and Ava, they setting their plan into motion, right? So, when it came time to pick the players, like Melissa had one of her students go make a big mess out in the hallway in the bathroom. And so they called Mr. Johnson overhead, hey, to go clean up this mess. And apparently, like, that bathroom is the one place in the school building where you get no phone reception, right? So he couldn't go on his phone and pick his players. So Melissa and Ava meet up and try to go and pick the player he wanted. And he was just like, he's already picked. How did he do that? If he's in the bathroom, yada, yada, yada. So they cannot figure out how Mr. Johnson has picked this player when he can't, you know, he's in a place where there's not even no cell service or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So they find out later on what it is. But so anyway, we see Gregory and his dad, right? They're out on the job working or whatever. And so his dad just complimented Gregory. And he says to him, well, what do you think if I add an and son to the name? And I was just like, okay, because Gregory came back and said, what do you mean a Eddie and son and you know, and he was just like, no, just a Eddie and son. Like, I want you to come and work with me. And so Gregory goes on to say, why would I come work for you when I've always done everything you do, and then you always say I'm not doing it right. And then you come behind me just to do the exact same thing and then say that you did it better, that it was an improvement on what I did when you did the exact same thing. And so his dad was just like, you know, I don't want you to work for me. I want you to work with me. You know, I'm really impressed with everything that you do. I want you to work alongside me. And I just needed to know I did that because I just needed to know that you can handle things and that I will be able to pass the business along to you or whatever. And so you can see the little wheels turning in Gregory's mind, because I think, you know, this is really like a passion for him too. But at the same time, he don't want to, you know how you can just get turned off by something because of how someone makes you feel about it, even though you might like that particularly something. I think this is what happened in that situation, because I really think he does like to garden, like how he takes the time to take care of the garden at the school and all of that. So anyway, but yeah, you could just see them little wheels turning in his mind. So Janine and Barbara, they end up talking about her students fighting. You know what I'm saying? And so Barbara is just like, what's really going on? Let's go ahead these office hours right now. You know what I'm saying? And so she tells Janine that it seems like you have a problem with conflict, because sometimes two people just don't like each other. They just don't get along, and that's okay. And so I agree with that. That's right. And so Janine goes on and she opens up and talks to her about her mama and her sister and their conflict, and how they didn't get along, and how she doesn't like conflict, and how just their tension always made her feel. And so Barbara is like, the students aren't the problem, you're the problem. Let them be. You know what I'm saying? It's okay if they don't get along or whatever. And so next day we see Gregory. He's in his classroom and he's teaching his children about gardening. Like, they're having a whole project about planting the seed and all of this, and watching it grow. And so Jacob comes in and he's asking Gregory, well, how did things go with your dad or whatever? And so Gregory's like, he said he noticed the confidence in me. And so Gregory went on to say, though, that my confidence is coming from Abbott. I like working with the kids. I like gardening here. And that's where my confidence is coming from, because, he also went on to tell Jacob how his dad wanted him to leave and come work with him at the building. So Jacob was like, okay, man, you leaving? So Gregory's like, no, this is my place. Like, I have found my place. I can do what I love. It, all in one. You know what I'm saying? So then, well, I think I lost my place, and I'm trying to see what happened. I don't know. But anyway, Gregory, went on just to say he turned down the job with his dad because of what he loves to do right there and whatever, Abbott is the thing that's growing him into the person that he is. So by the end of the episode, I'm sorry, y'all, I lost my place. So we just gonna keep rolling because I lost my place. So by the end of the episode, we just gonna say that the two girls in the 8th grade class, they actually end up getting along. The ones that the sisters had fighting, they actually got along, as well as the two little ones. They were getting along. So Janine is witnessing that, and it makes her just kind of think about her conversation with Barbara about, like, not trying to force things, and that just being okay with people not getting along. And so we see her pick up the phone. She's had kind of like a change of heart, I think, because of just all of that, and just learning how to take her hands off of things sometimes. We know Janine has a problem with that. So like I said, we see her pick up the phone and she calls her sisters. And so we hear her telling her sister that, come on and visit. And you know what? I'm not going to even tell mom about it. You know what I'm saying? And so I think Janine is realizing, hey, I do not have to play the peacemaker. Like, that's not my role. And so we're seeing that she's learning to just stay out of some people's business. Oh, goodness. We see how long that lasts. Y'all know what you need. So anyway, that's their thing. Her mom and her sister, and she doesn't have to be in it. So she ain't got to be the one to try to make an amends. So the episode ends right with Ava, Melissa, Mr. Johnson, and Jacob all in the break room talking about this darn fantasy football stuff, right? And so Mr. Johnson comes in with his money. He glowed because he don't want the fantasy football thing again, right? And so Ava and Melissa are like, how did you do that? How were you able to pick your person? And so we see Mr. Johnson go over and give Jacob some money. Y'all, that doggone Jacob, come to find out, he was the one picking the player players for Mr. Johnson. He was his help. You know what I'm saying? So Melissa and Ava thought they were getting over on him the whole time. Mr. Johnson had his whole plan in place too. Baby. So they were like, Jacob, I thought you despised football. You go, Jacob, yeah. Like, yeah, I do, but that's my boy. And then they proceed to dap it up, y'all. They done had a whole handshake, and I was just like, they doing too much. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, Ava and Melissa looking like, what the hell? What the entire hell? Yeah, that was the end of the episode. That was another great episode. Like I said, another good one. I love this show. I wonder how many episodes are gonna be in this season. I feel like we're probably coming up on an end, which I hate because this show, I just love it. But yeah, we're already at episode 12. So anyways, yeah, tell me what y'all thought of this episode. Did y'all think it was funny? I want to know, what was your favorite part? I think I think my favorite part was the hoeing. Hiding hoeing. Hoeing hiding. Yeah, I'm gonna make it to a hashtag. So anyway, that's all I got. I'm finna be out, y'all. Until next time, I'll pray for you all. Y'all, please pray for me. And what? Bye, y'all.